Hey, boys and girls, welcome back to Stories with Sally. I am so happy that you've tuned in for another read aloud. This week, I have a very special story to share with you. I wanted to start off and tell you who gave me this book. This is a very special book, and it was given to me by my sister. My sister lived in New York City for a few years, and my family loved visiting her, and we still love taking trips to New York City. And this book is about something that happened in New York City in 1974. That was actually the year before I was born. I was born in 1975. So this book is about an event that happened in 1974. Okay, now remember we talked a lot about the covers of books, and the title of this book is The Man Who Walked Between the Towers, and there's only one name listed underneath the title. And a couple weeks ago, we had the same situation. We had a situation where the same person was the author and the illustrator. And that's what we have today. So this man's name is Mordecai Gerstein, and he wrote the book. He's the author, and he drew the pictures. He's the illustrator. Remember, the illustrator is the person who paints and draws all of the pictures that go with the story. Very talented. I'm always impressed when the same person writes the book and does the pictures. Okay, so that's the cover. One more thing. We also talked last week about fiction and nonfiction books. And if you remember, fiction means that a book did not happen. I gave you a little hint. I said you can think of fiction as fake. So it's a story that didn't actually happen. It's made up. And nonfiction, or not fake, is a book that gives us true information. It may be a story that gives us facts about a topic, or it might be a story about someone's life, or it might be a story about something that actually happened. And that's what this book is. This is a nonfiction book, and the reason it's nonfiction is because it's about an event that happened in 1974, and it actually happened. It's amazing. You're just going to be amazed. Okay, now, when you open the book, I'm going to introduce you to a little something new here. When you open a book, there is a page like this. This is called the title page. And usually the title page has another illustration. And then it also has the author and the illustrator. And it has where the book was first published. So when the book was written and put together, and then they decided to sell it to people, it tells you where that happened. So that's the title page. Now, this next page, there's a lot of writing on it. It's called the copyright page. And the copyright page gives us all kinds of information about the book. The year that it was written, where it was written, all kinds of important information. So we have, again, the title page. It gives us the title and the author and the illustrator. And then we have the copyright page that gives us a lot of important information about the book. Okay, let's begin. Once, there were two towers side by side. They were each a quarter of a mile high, 1,340 feet, the tallest buildings in New York City. A young man saw them rise into the sky. He was a street performer. He rode a unicycle. He juggled balls and fiery torches. But most of all, he loved to walk and dance on a rope he tied between two trees. He looked not at the towers, but at the space between them, and thought, what a wonderful place to stretch a rope, a wire on which to walk. Once the idea came to him, he knew he had to do it. If he saw 3 balls, he had to juggle. If he saw 2 towers, he had to walk. That's how he was. Hadn't he danced on a wire between the steeples of Notre Dame Cathedral above his amazed home city, Paris? Why not here, between these towers? Of course, he knew that, as in Paris, the police and the owners of the towers would never allow it. You must be crazy, they would say. You'd fall for sure. And so Phillipe, that was the young man's name, began a plan to do it secretly. The buildings are not quite finished, he thought. Maybe if I dressed as a construction worker. Early on an August evening, he and a friend entered the South Tower. They got a 440-pound reel of cable and other equipment into the elevator, took it to the unfinished top 10 floors, and waited till nightfall when everyone had gone. Then they carried everything up 180 stairs to the roof. At midnight, on the other tower's roof, 2 more friends tied a thin, strong line to an arrow and shot it across to Phillipe, 140 feet away. It missed and landed on a ledge 15 feet below the roof. Bad luck, thought Phillipe. He crawled down to the ledge over the sparkling city and got the arrow. To its line he tied a stronger line, which his friends pulled back to their tower. To his end of the stronger line, Phillipe tied the cable on which he would walk. It was 7/8 of an inch thick. His friends pulled the cable over to their tower, but it was so heavy that it slipped from Phillipe's grip. The cable's middle plummeted toward the street, pulling the friends on the other tower to the very edge. Phillipe, just in time, secured his end. It took 3 hours to pull the cable back up. Frantically, as the stars faded, they tightened it between the towers. It was past dawn before they were ready. Phillipe put on his black shirt and tights. He picked up his 28-foot balancing pole. All his life, he had worked to be here, to do this. As the rising sun lit up the towers, out he stepped onto the wire. Out to the very middle he walked, as if he were walking on the air itself. Many winds whirled up from between the towers, and he swayed with them. He could feel the towers breathing. He was not afraid. He felt alone and happy and absolutely free. A woman coming from the subway might have been the first to see him. Look, someone walking on a wire between the towers. Everyone stopped and looked up. They gasped and stared. It was astonishing. It was terrifying and beautiful. A quarter of a mile up in the sky, someone was dancing. Police saw it too. Officers rushed to the roofs of the towers. "You're under arrest!" they shouted through bullhorns. Phillipe turned and walked the other way. Who would come and get him? For almost an hour, back and forth, he walked, danced, ran, and knelt in a salute upon the wire. He even lay down to rest. The city and harbor spread beneath him. The sky surrounded him. Seagulls flew under and over. As long as he stayed on the wire, he was free. When he felt completely satisfied, he walked back to the roof and held out his wrist for the handcuffs. They brought him to court. The judge sentenced him to perform in the park for the children of the city. This he did happily, though during his performance some boys playing on his wire jerked it and Phillipe fell, but caught himself. Now the towers are gone. But in memory, as if imprinted on the sky, the towers are still there. And part of that memory is the joyful morning, August 7th, 1974, when Phillipe Petit walked between them in the air. Okay, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the read aloud. Now, I do have a takeaway. What I would like you to do is I would like you to find your favorite book at home, and I want you to make your own title page for that book. So remember, you're going to do a great illustration to go with the story, and then you can also write the author's name and the illustrator's name and the title on the title page, and then share it with your family. I think they would enjoy seeing it. I hope you enjoyed Stories with Sally. Please tune in to my YouTube channel, Stories with Sally, and please subscribe to the channel. Have another great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.